All right, so we're getting started now. So good evening, everyone. Jose J. Garcia, real estate investor, coach, mentor. Another Sunday coaching series this evening. Welcome, welcome. Good evening, everyone on Zoom, everybody on Instagram here. As I mentioned, no TikTok this evening, but we will share the recording over into the TikTok. So either way, if you cannot make it on time, you make it after the fact, there is a way to watch the replay. One of the questions many people ask, and yes, all of our coachings except for Wednesday, because Wednesday is members only, does get posted on all over social media. Best place to go is YouTube. How to get to our YouTube? The best way is to go to Garcia, GarciaMHU.com. All of our links attached on there. And all of our social media kind of feeds off each one. You got LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, all the social media. It's kind of like a circle. They just feed off each other. So all of the social media is on there. But anyway, tonight's coaching is going to be on single wide versus double wides. Okay, that's the question that a lot of people ask as to why do you not invest as much on double wides as I do on single wides? There's a good reason behind that, right? Everything I do when it comes to mobile home investing is very strategically to the best of my ability. It's always finding out all the information, getting all the details possible, and it's always looking at what is the best ROI. What is the best return on my investments? That's something that you have to keep in mind. And again, when it comes to mobile home investing, like most businesses, you're not investing out of your heart sense. You're investing out of your mind. Mobile home investing is a numbers game. Okay. So leave the emotion aside. I don't like this mobile home because there's too many rooms that are painted green, or I don't like this mobile home because of the location. It's irrelevant. If the numbers check out, okay, then it's really irrelevant what you think of it. Now, unless you're going to actually live in it physically, then that's a whole different thing. It may be a different type of investing if you're thinking about it. But if it's for you to buy and invest, whether you want to sell it, flip it, rent it, maybe do or Airbnbs, Section 8s, veteran assistance, whatever exit strategy you're looking at from a standpoint of ROIs, return on your investments. So, keep that in mind no matter where you're trying to invest, what you're trying to invest in. But yes, so single wide versus double wides, there's a lot of differences. I want to cover quite a bit of specific different topics and why I choose one over the other, but why both make good investments as well. Stay tuned towards the end of this call. If this is only a 30-minute coaching call, towards the end, I will announce a couple of coaching events that are coming. We always like to cover up and coming events as well, whether they're going to be virtual or live. And we do have one that, as of this morning, we have finalized as well coming up. Very important coaching call that a lot of you, I think, is going to help out. Okay. But let's get started. Any questions on Zoom, you can unmute yourself, raise your hand, or drop on the comments. Instagram here, you can just drop on the comments. I think you can raise your hand as well. So do that. I will answer all the questions. If it's not within topic of what I'm covering, I'll leave it towards the end of the call, and I'll cover it then. Okay. Cost per mobile home. That's number one. What is the cost per mobile home? So what is the biggest difference between a single and a double wide? Now, I want to let y'all in on a little something here that a lot of people kind of miss when you think it. Double wide is always bigger than single wides. Double wide is wider than single wides, but is it always bigger than a single wide? No, it is not. Mobile homes, unlike real estate. Let's see. Mobile homes, unlike real estate, is not measured by the square footage of the house, the square of the land. It is measured in width by length, or vice versa. So when you're thinking about a single wide, for instance, you may be thinking about a 16 by 80. And if you're trying to find out what the square footage of that would be, is simply multiply the numbers. 16 wide by the length of which was 80. That's the largest single wide, by the way. Okay, that'll get you the actual square footage. Now, what you come up with that, now I don't have a calculator in front of me. But now you take a double wide, for instance, and double wides tend to be shorter, but they are longer. It just depends. You don't find as many 80 footers of double wides as you do single wides. All you're doing to make a double wide is putting two single wides together, but they tend to be shorter because they make the difference of the width, or so you're being told. Well, if you take the same example like I mentioned, which is a 16 by 80, divide each number and you get a square footage. I want to say it's around 1,200 square foot. Well, if you take, let's say, a double wide is going to be 28 wide. Okay. So you got 28 wide of a double wide, and then the length of it is 40. What do you come up with on the square footage of that? You're going to realize that that's actually less square footage than the single wide. Okay. Now, a lot of people will pay a lot more money in a sense because it's a double wide. I get more living space, if you will. And that's not the case. Not to mention also, what is the floor plan on those mobile homes and the single or double wide? Single wide, when you're getting into a 16 by 80, it is typically a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. There are some two bedroom, two bath, and you can imagine it's quite convenient. You know, the rooms are pretty large in a two. So that's single wide 1680 is a rather big mobile home. But we do have some special additions, which in the whole 7 years we've only invested in about four mobile homes that were the special edition single wide. Now, what that was a 16 by 80, but it was a four bedroom, two bath. So you had an additional four bedroom. But again, you start getting into this whole more rooms, less space. You know, it all depends on what you're trying to do with the mobile home. From an investment standpoint, to be able to say, hey, I have a four bedroom, two bath, that's definitely going to get you higher rent, higher selling numbers, margins, that sort of thing. But again, think about the living space. Whereas with the double wides, you'll think, well, it's a 28 by 40, so it's a double wide. I get more space. You'll get more space in the kitchen, the living room, the kind of like the common areas, and it'll actually decrease in the bedrooms. Again, all how you set up. You can actually go to Fleetwood, Clayton, Horton, and say, hey, I want to buy a 2023 double wide, and this is how I want it set up. They may not set it up exactly how you want it, but what I'm saying is you actually can go and structure how you want your bedrooms, your bathrooms, and your floor plans. So just a little heads up on that as well. But all in all, okay, single wides are not always smaller than double wides. Now, where you're going to get into the whole cost per mobile home, are double wides more expensive than single wides? That's a common question. And the typical response is yes. Most people, again, same back kind of concept is they want to sell a double wide for more. Now, again, take everything in account because everything is a numbers game. What is the year, the make, the model, the condition of the mobile home? Okay, you're going to comp these with the whatever is in the same market, which means in the same mobile home park. And that's where you're going to get your numbers based on whatever needs to be done on the rehab to bring up to comp whatever it is that you're trying to comp it to. I would typically pay on a double wide. My formula is the same. My formula is not going to change because one mobile home is this or another one is that. I stick to what the numbers allow and what the market allows for. Meaning that if it's a third all in, that's my formula, by the way. It's a third all into the final resale. Example: if I can sell a single wide, double wide, it doesn't matter. If I can sell a mobile home for 25,000, I do not want to be into it for more than around 9,000. What does the 9,000 give me? Okay, that's not, a little confusion with some people think is you start adding all these numbers and they think, oh, and then the mobile home. No. The 9,000 accounts for the mobile home itself. It accounts for the expense of the rehab, the material, the holding, the utilities, the insurance. 9,000 means all exclusive, everything in within. I want to be in this mobile home, no more, all in, $9,000, because I know that is around a third of the final resale, which is around $25,000. This is where you have to, and again, this is why you want to know your numbers. This is how you decipher, is it a good deal or not? If I take the same mobile home example, for instance, and say, all right, I can get $25,000 for it, but it looks like I'm going to be into it for around 17 or 18,000. Some people may say, well, that's still a good deal. I got about 8,000, 7,000, whatever. I can profit in. By all means, have at it, right? Because no deal is the same, no investment is the same, and I'll toss this in there. No investor is the same. So to some people, that may be a phenomenal deal. To me, I got a formula. That's the third all in. And the reason that we scaled it up versus a fourth all in was because of the material. As most of you investors may know and be aware that a lot of these materials, of course, are sky high at this time. Thank goodness, lumber is back down some. Plumbing is also scaling down a little bit, but nevertheless, the numbers have gone up. So when you have inflation and numbers like that, obviously everything goes up. And it was about 3 years ago where we were typically all in about a quarter, which means that for a $20,000 mobile home, for instance, resale value, we were not going over 5,000. And again, that was everything all in that I just mentioned. So just stick to those numbers. Stick to those numbers. The formula. You may have your own formula. If it makes sense to you numbers wise, have at it. That's all I say to that. Resale value. Okay, this is where it gets interesting. So it has been rehab. It is moving ready. I've done all the work to it, and now it is beautiful like I like it. Awesome. That checks out. Can I sell it for a lot more than a single wide? And we're back to the same thing. Comps. Okay, I'm going to keep saying that over and over on this call. We should have a coaching on just numbers, how to determine numbers versus both sides, and we're going to do a coaching on that. But it's the same thing. I want to comp that double wide or that single wide to whatever single or double wide it has sold in the past 30, 60, 90 days. That's what's going to determine. And this is why you need to know these things before you invest. A lot of investors come in here swinging and they get this and get that and they're off to the races. And hey, I love the approach. Come in and get onto it, right? But the problem is that you miss a lot of information when you don't pay attention to the numbers. Then here you come around the next corner and you're thinking, okay, now it's time to sell. And you're like, oh, I didn't realize that in sell for but only this amount. What's the information you should have known from the get-go? So again, the comps, a double wide on average, 4,000 is about what I say we sell them more for in our area. In our area, let me be specific, and this is why every market is different. In Central Georgia, where we're doing a lot more business, and I mean even Central Florida, where we've done quite a bit of business also with single versus double, is we're not getting more than maybe tops 5,000 more on a double wide than we would on a single. Now, here's the problem with that. When you account for the rehab, because remember what I said, a double wide is nothing more than two single wides put together. So now that means that if it has to have extensive rehab, unlike a single wide, now you have a double wide that takes double the work, double the material, double the holding. You see, everything has doubled up, which means that now you may be, instead of 8,000 all into just the material and let's say everything accounted for, now you're at 16,000. Now, when it's time to resell that mobile home, are you getting double? Oh, and that's where the eyebrows go up, right? No, you do not. So that's, for me to invest in a double wide, it has to be a killer deal. And that most times than not means that I'm typically getting those for a little to no money. It's usually a deal that I am doing with the park owners, park management. I will keep the mobile home in your community for 5 years, 10 years, whatever it may be. And therefore we are able to negotiate the actual price of the mobile home. So it just kind of makes it make sense at that point. But no, resale value, you are not going to get double the amount for that you would on a single wide, just bottom line. So, okay. Now, keeping going on. Cost of rehab, same thing. I just went over that. So the cost of rehab, I would say, and look, some of these mobile homes need minimal. Some of these mobile homes that we are getting, I mean, clean up, touch up. I like to go ahead and paint all the walls, the ceiling. When you paint the ceiling, it's in single wide or double wides, it just opens up the rooms. I don't ever like to over rehab, but there's certain things that you can do to touch them up and make them look that much better. So just kind of keep in mind. But again, cost of rehab for single wide versus double could be double. Could be less. It just depends on that. So I'll let you decide on that. Which should you focus on as an investor? All the above. Never limit yourself as to, oh, only do single wides or only do double wides. Now, if you're moving them, and that's actually the next question, if you're moving them, should you focus more on single or double wides? Again, market numbers. What does the market allow and what is your investment type? When you start moving these mobile homes, and that's what our event is going to be October 22nd, which is next Saturday. I'll talk about that here in a few minutes. Okay. It's now you really are over double when it comes to double wides. So on average, to move a single wide, okay, point A, where the mobile home is located, to point B, let's just say 50-mile radius. That's about the typical what movers like to give you. Well, I'll give you on a 50-mile radius. This is typically what I charge for. Okay. That is anywhere from 4,000 to 6,000 is what we're seeing today. That's it now. That is them coming to break it down, is what they call, which means they're going to take the skirting out of the way. If they have to put new axles, new wheels, that could be another additional expense. If the hook, the tongue on front of the mobile home has to be added, because a lot of these communities, what they make owners do is cut them off and put them under the home. So now when the mover comes in, they have to either re-weld it on there or screw it back in. There's different ways they do that, but that's additional expenses to you. So let's say 4,000 to 6,000 to move a single wide. That's already 4,000 to 6,000 just for them to take it from point A to point B. When it gets to point B, at that point now, they have to reset it up, level it, strap it, and that's it, which is great convenience to you. But now you still have utilities that are not connected. Water, plumbing, it has to be connected, and it could take additional material. So now you have to have a handyman or contractor to come in and do the above. Then put the skirting, then put the decks or porches or whatever you decide. That's another 2,000 to 3,000 right there. So let's say you're at 6,000, now you're at 9,000 just on the transportation setup. Plus the mobile home, I imagine it's not a brand new unit, so therefore it needs some type of rehab. Funny thing about when you move mobile homes, regardless of what age they may be or what great condition they may be, when you take some of these 20, 30, 40-year-old mobile homes down the highway, they start jumping, zigzagging, whatever, zigzagging, what some of these movers call it. There's a lot of wear and tear. You're going to replace some things and you will have to do some type of rehab, light, whatever it may be, but that's additional expenses. So you see your numbers continue to climb up. And you got to think about one thing is, my final number is not going to keep climbing up because I'm doing additional and some more additional, right? That's not going to make a difference to that. The numbers are there. So now let's say you're 9,000 plus the mobile home that you had to move, not to mention the cost of the mobile home plus the touch up. Look, is that a good deal? It depends. It depends on what you are trying to do. Some of these people I'm seeing moving some of these mobile homes may have their own piece of land. So at that point, you're getting into a whole different type of investment. That's Airbnbs, long-term rentals, maybe rent to owns, finance, maybe play your own little park. I've seen people do that where they bring a mobile home onto their piece of land and they set it up and put it as a rental and then later on sell it on payments, but they never get rid of the land. So which means that once they, the residents pay the mobile home off on payments, then they'll give them the land as an option. Well, you've paid the home off in the past 6 years per se. Now here's a piece of land. It's an acre. I'm going to sell it to you for example 30,000, and I'll finance it for the next 10 years. Additional expenses. So you see how creative you can get on all the above, but it has to make sense. It has to make sense. A lot of that. Now, if you're moving a mobile home into a community, and I'm already going into what we're going to be talking Saturday, so this will be the last on that topic. But getting with park owners is typically a big, large key to the above. Everybody wins when you bring a mobile home into the community. Everybody, especially the park owner on the park value. We'll leave that one on there. Let's keep moving. Okay, moving difference, like I mentioned, is double. So the double wides are not double the expense to this transport. No, no, no. That's I wish it was. And even then, you're talking 10, 12,000, right? Mm-mm. Because of the material. And so what happens is the double wides are a lot more labor intensive. Think about it again. Two single wides put together. Yes, going down the highway, that double wide is not traveling as a double wide. They're going to break it in between halfways. They have to tape it up, tarp it up, and seal it like they do. Okay. If there's any furniture, appliances, all that has to be strapped, tied down. So a lot of little titties that the movers having to do. Once it is set and done, broken down, they move one at a time. So they move the A side as was considered on mobile homes, double wides. A side, B side. They'll take A side, take it down to wherever point B is at location, set it, go back for the other one, bring it back, and then they have to put them together, level them, even them out. There's a lot, and I've seen these works taken out. It's a lot of little titties just moving the mobile home, straighten it out, moving. It takes a lot of time. So you're looking anywhere from 12 to 15,000 minimum just to move the mobile home, the double wide. Okay. Titles for mobile home, that's a good one there. And that's part of the next question we got. So titles. Yes. So if you have a single wide, you're going to typically have a one title. Remember, mobile homes are like vehicles. They're considered personal property, which is like a car, boat, motorcycle. They hold a title. It's no deed. It's a title. I don't like when people call it deeds. It's no such thing. It's not a deed. It's a title. But anyway, double wides, however, have two titles. Now, a lot of these counties, cities, states, I understand that they're now starting to combine the titles, which means that instead of giving you two titles, one for your double wide that's an A side and B side, they're giving you one title that covers both. What you're going to have to pay attention to is that it says on the title. It'll say the VIN number and then it'll have an A and B on it. That means the A side and B side. We're not going to get into verify and trace titles and bins and making sure that it all checks out, but that's something that you definitely should. And go back to some of our social medias, by the way. I believe we've done a video on how to do due diligence for titles and mobile home sales, closings, that sort of thing. So it'll kind of answer a lot more questions on the above. But any questions so far? Let me look at the Instagram real quick. All right. Awesome, awesome. Let me keep going. So, and again, a couple announcements we have in a few minutes, but I don't get one over the other. If the numbers make sense, if they check out, I will buy a double wide just like I will buy a single wide. It has to make sense. I ideally prefer single wides. I think it's a lot easier, and not even from the resale buy or rehab sense, but double wides, and I sound like I'm negative talking about them. I'm not, but double wides have weak roofs. That's one thing I do not like about a double wide. Why do double wides have weak roofs? Because they're two single wides put together. So when they combine these together over time, the homes start to settle a little bit, that sort of thing. And in the middle, right down the center of the middle of the mobile home, where they had to be put back together, it is weak already from where it was adjusted back together. So that's typically where you start leaking. Now, the problem with that is that many times, that's where it starts, but the roofs are pitched. So what happens is the water starts coming in, but instead of coming straight down, it starts running to the sides. And now you're starting to see there's a leak in that corner. There's a leak over there in the corner. And you get on top of the roof and you're fixing that corner. And that's not where the water's coming from. The water is actually coming from the center. So bottom line is when you're getting into some of these double wides that the roofs are leaking, it's kind of time to go ahead and replace the entire roof. Maybe put a metal roof. That'd be better off than a shingle. To me, anyway. Cost expenses, about the same thing, 3,000 to 6,000. Just depends where you get your material, what area you are in. But I would say on the above, but just little things like that. Double wides take more space in a community and on a piece of land, so they could also mean additional space and more water, more just everything starts adding up a little bit more on the above. So, but okay, let's see. Let's talk about some of these events coming up, and then I'll check for any questions. So I know I mentioned a couple, and I got one for y'all, all of y'all. I don't care if you're new on here, you've been on here forever. If you're a realtor, a broker, an attorney, this is going to be for you. You're going to want to attend this event. I'll get into that one in a minute. But first up is October 22nd, which is next Saturday. Next Saturday, we're going to be about 30 minutes south of downtown Atlanta, Georgia, where we're going to be in a community. Yes, we're going to be live in a mobile home park where we are going to be removing 32 to 35 mobile homes. I'm pushing hard to allow us to keep some of them there for different reasons, different investments, which all mean great for even y'all, so much more because there will be more opportunities for you, unless you have land and you want some of these to be brought into. Plenty fine with that too. But you do not want to miss that event. We're going to be covering how to invest in the mobile side to mobile home investing. Everything from permits, inspections, everything it takes to prep a mobile home, how to verify and do due diligence on the paperwork. It's a lot more hands-on, but they're very profitable. One of the most avoid exit strategies with mobile home investing I see is any mobile home that needs to be moved. And it's the same thing over and over. It's, well, I don't know what to do with it. I don't want to get involved with this. I don't want to get involved with that. What happens is that leaves the door open for a lot of you investors who learn this process. Now, when you run into some of these mobile homes that are free but must be moved, you're not running away from it. That is a free asset sitting on your hands. All you have to do is call them up and they'll be happy to give you the mobile home. It makes for a great negotiation as well when you're having to move mobile homes. And this is what we coach you. Always be on coaching mode. When somebody calls me and say, hey, I need to sell my home, but it needs to be moved off my land immediately. Okay, well, immediately is not going to happen, but we can within maybe, let's just say 60 days. How much are you asking? Oh, I need at least 10,000. Immediately that's a negotiation. Did you know, Mr. Seller, that it takes about 5,000 to 6,000 to move this mobile home, to relocate it, to get permits, inspections, and all the above? You immediately start realizing that they didn't know what they were talking about. They just thought they could make some money by having it moved. So when you explain all these things to them, then it kind of makes sense to, okay, what are you willing to pay for at this time? And I tell them, you don't have to sell it to me for cheaper, but if you want to move it off your land, you can pay the 5,000 to 6,000. They don't care to do that. So for that reason, they usually call. I say, you know what? Just take the mobile home. We'll do a bill of sale. Here's the title, and you can take it, and that's good enough for me. Free asset, right? So we're covering a lot of it on that. Now, the video that has over 30,000 views today, it is a video that I made about 2 years ago, and it involves on titles, liens, and how to locate VIN numbers, the serial, the HUD data sheet. The bottom line, all in all, it goes to, I don't have a title. I need to buy or sell a mobile home. There's title issues. There are lien issues. I can't find the VIN. I can't do this. Problem solved. This is what I'm going to bring to y'all. I want to do a virtual coaching. That's why I said it's good for realtors, because a lot of realtors, a lot of brokers, a lot of attorneys call me. Hey, we looked at your video and we try to find the VIN in this areas, but we still can't, and we got to get this mobile home move off the land. You know any other options? Plenty. We got plenty of other options we can do for you. We also work with an agency now that does bond titles, and we've teamed up so that we can get titles immediately. We're working on about 6 mobile homes now that we've sent the documents in, and these guys are sending us the paperwork overnight. I mean, one day we send the documents over, and the next day we have what we need to visit the DMV, tag and tax assessors, and go ahead and register for a title. That's where the length comes in, about 2 weeks, but you got a title. You already registered in the system. So that is a beautiful thing. But I want to create a virtual. It is going to be sometime in November. I don't know the date yet. It's not going to be live in person. It's going to be virtual. But for all of y'all trying to get into, one of the things that I see a lot is mobile homes are free, but there's no title. And I don't blame y'all. Don't take a title from somebody on an individual piece of land that says it's free. Just come get it off the land. There could be a lot of issues with it that you don't want to get yourself involved. But what if you could learn the process as to what you need to do step by step to acquire that title? Because you maybe then come in as a wholesaler, as a bird dog, as an investor, and say, hey, start listing any type of problems with your mobile homes, reach out to me. You would be learning something that will want to make you thousands and thousands. So for that reason, I want to create that coaching. I want to connect with a lot of y'all. And that's a question that comes in over and over. Okay. I would say a process of about 4 to 6 weeks tops, everybody can get titles for mobile homes. There's a lot of other things that are hand in hand. Stay tuned for the announcement. But like I said, it's going to be in November. But that is definitely a game changer for you all. half of these realtor brokers that call me today, I already know immediately when they reach out to me, hey, it's I got an issue with the title. I know where they're going. They're trying to sell a house to them or trying to buy a piece of land or move something, and it cannot be done because legally there's issues behind it. We're going to solve all the above. So stay tuned for that one as well. Let me see a couple things. Good evening. A couple other people that joined us on Instagram. So, all right. So that's what we got going on. So definitely, I hope to see y'all all next Saturday. Definitely live next Saturday. I don't know after next Saturday when the next live event will be. It is kind of chilling, cooling time, and I don't like the cold, so I may not get out as much, but we'll see what we can make happen out of that as well. But October 22nd, downtown Atlanta, join us. Y'all can check out GarciaMHU.com. I know I'll put the link on here on this Instagram and pin it, and also on the chat on Zoom. So we have that. Tuesday, a lot of deals this week coming up. I'm going to be visiting Alabama, South Carolina, and South and into Florida. So there's going to be deals, opportunities. If you are not part of our deals already on Tuesday, send us an email, j@garciamhu.com. I'll go ahead and put it on the chat box over here on Instagram as well. And you can request the spreadsheet. The spreadsheet is nothing more than a very simple Excel where I upload all my information to the mobile homes. These are mobile homes that are available for all of y'all investors, but of course, GMHU students get first dibs. That's something to kind of keep in mind, but a lot of opportunities come on there as well. So we hope to see you Tuesday. All right, I think that's all I have for this evening. So I don't see any questions on here. We're right at the 30-minute mark, and I think that's going to do it. So stay tuned after. Hope to see y'all Tuesday. But all right, everyone, have a great night. Thank you for watching.